Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2022 Internet Marketing Plan. This is for the people that did not attend the KBIS Live. This is a recording, so you can see what I will be going over. This will be a little faster than the actual in session because I won't have any live questions. But feel free to stop and pause because there are going to be aspects where I am asking questions, and that will be for the audience. But since you are not here live, feel free to pause when I have the questions or when you're working in the workbook to go over it so you can have time to do all that. So, welcome everyone. So, today's session, there's a workbook. So, download the workbook at this URL kabms.com/2022 plan workbook, or you could just scan in that QR code and it will take you to the 26-page workbook. That's everything that we're going to go over today. And there's some extra in there as well, but download the workbook. So the topics that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about setting goals for 2022. How many leads do you need to hit your target? The 3 fundamentals of marketing success. How to optimize your website for conversions in 2022 and beyond. The big picture of online marketing channels you should be tapping into to maximize your lead flow. The latest trends for 2022 in digital marketing. And then we're going to develop your custom action plan. All right. So what I ask is that you turn off your cell phones, turn off social media, Facebook, and all the other apps, because what I'm going to go over today will help enhance and take you to the next level if you really want to be serious about the results that you're going to get in 2022. If you stay all the way to the end, you'll have an option to get some of these documents as well. So you'll get the Google My Business Setup Workbook, the digital marketing trends for 2022. So we did 10 of them, but I'm going to highlight 3 that you should really focus on, but you'll be able to look at all 10 to see which ones that you may want to implement in 2022. And then the most commonly searched keywords in the interior design and home remodel niche. So I'll have all that information at the end. So who am I and why should you listen to me? So my name is Jason Lockhart, the owner of Kitchen and Bath Marketing Solutions, the author of The Complete Guide to Internet Marketing for the Kitchen and Bath Remodel Industry. I'm a podcast host for Designer Discussions, industry partner with the NKBA, sales and marketing specialist, a CEU provider, which I'll touch on throughout this presentation. Spoken at NKBA, locally and regionally at the AIA, ASID, and other industry events across the U.S., Mexico, and North America. Well, North America we're in, but South America and Europe as well. Over 20 years practical experience in architecture and interior design. Worked with projects mainly on the commercial side, but also a few residential as well, with project costs over $20 million. I taught at the School of Architecture and at the School of Interior Design at Southern University and LSU, Louisiana State University. And I'm also the partner in an architecture firm, Synetics, here within the Dallas area. And we have clients across the U.S. So what I'm going to go over today is information that we not only collected on our own, but it's from what we implement every day with our own clients throughout the U.S. So we have clients from Florida to California, from Ohio to Texas, and everywhere in between. And we implement a lot of these strategies that I'm going to go over today with our current clients. So again, download the workbook if you haven't already. This is the URL, or you can copy, or you could take a picture or scan in this QR code that'll take you directly to the workbook. All right. So, what is the hardest part about marketing your interior design and home remodel business? Now, this is a question I'm asked, but like I said, you could pause here and just really think about what is the hardest part that you are having in your marketing for your business right now. Just think about that for a little while. Okay. And this is so we've interviewed, and this happened in 2020, shortly after the pandemic started, in between April and July. We interviewed over 400 business owners in the interior design, home remodel niche. And these are the answers that we heard. One was, with all of the digital options out there, they don't know where to spend their time. So SEO, PPC, content marketing, blogging, that is, they don't know what to do. Well, we also heard a major investment is marketing. So they spend a lot of money and they don't quite know what to put their money into, or it's a little bit too high for them to spend, and they're just gun shy on what to on to actually pull the trigger to spend the money with a marketing agency. Or they've invested, but they haven't seen many results. So I've heard that too. Like, they have marketing agencies that they work with, but they aren't getting the type of results that they would like, or they're not communicating those results correctly to have them understand what they're doing for the money. So I've heard that a lot as well. So what we found from just the interviewing and just planning in general is that if you don't have a clear plan, you can overspend or underspend and underperform. So the purpose of this webinar and the purpose of this session is really to have you come up with a plan to help you implement that will have measurable results that you can see over the next year and accomplish your goals. So as I talked about, by setting the opportunity here is really to set a clear plan with goals, targets, and KPIs, key performance indicators, that's KPIs, where you can generate leads and have a great return on your investment. And for success, you can maximize your lead flow and hit your sales goals. So that's the purpose of us doing this session and this webinar recording, is for you to see what I will and what I have went over at the KBIS event, and how we're going to talk about how to develop your marketing plan and hit your goals for 2022. Okay. So number one, you want to set clear goals. Now that may sound evident, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means. So a goal without a plan is just a dream. That's what Dave Ramsey, you all know, very well-known public speaker, a financial educator, and he talks about that. So that's just like what we have here. So having a goal without a plan is like being in this ship in the middle of the ocean. You have no direction. You don't know where to go. You don't know which way is right, and you're just in the middle of nowhere, and you're getting nowhere because you don't have a clear plan. Whereas when you have clear goals that are written down, now you have wind in your sails, and you can see in the backdrop there, they know where they're going. They're headed to this area in the back. So they know they're headed to the land. So they know where they're going. So that's what happens when you have clear goals. And for an example, there was a Harvard study that was done in the 90s and in 2000s that interviewed graduates. 84% of the people that they interviewed had no specific goals. 13% had goals. 3% had clear goals written down with a plan of action to accomplish the goals. What they found, the 13% had earned twice as much as the 84% that didn't have any clear goals. Then the 3% that had clear goals that were written down earned 10 times more than the 97% of the rest. So what that tells you is that when you have goals that are written down, you're more likely to accomplish them. So that's the purpose of this session, is to help you develop those clear goals, write them down, and have a plan of action to attack them and accomplish them. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So the framework that we're going to have today, we're going to write down clear goals and plan a plan of action. We're going to set at a minimum a 1-year goal, quarterly goals, and monthly goals. Okay. And you must have a stopping point at the beginning of each new year and at the end of each quarter to reflect, to see how you did based on the goals that you set. So you may not hit the goals, but you need to have them. You need to have a clear action plan so you know where you're going, what your aim is. And even if you don't hit your goals, you know, now you'll be able to reflect why you may not have hit them and what you can do so you can accomplish that or get even closer to them in that next quarter. All right. So what are your goals? Think about this now. This may be an area where you may want to pause the video, but what are your revenue targets? What does that mean monthly? How many calls would that require to hit your goals? And what is your average transaction value? Now we're going to do a little exercise to help you lay that out. So for an example, if you have a revenue target this year in 2022 to hit 2.5 million, what that means, divide that by 12 for the number of months. So that means you have to hit a monthly goal of 208,000. Say, for instance, you have a transaction value. So the typical remodel that you do within the bath and kitchen is around 40K. This is just numbers. Most likely it's higher than that, because I know with a lot of kitchen designs, you're in the 80 plus, 100 plus, depending on where you are, what and what the housing value is and all. But just for numbers' sake, 2.5 million is your goal for 2022. So that means 208,000 a month. And if you had a transaction value, typical or average transaction value of about 40,000, that means roughly you're going to have to receive or get 5 clients per month at that 40K typical transaction value to hit that 208,000 a month to get your then yearly goal of 2.5 million. So now on your sheet in the workbook, you'll see in the workbook that this sheet has this same stuff. So now you want to write all that down. So what are your annual goals? Then you can determine what your monthly goals are. And then based on your typical transaction value, that'll tell you how many sales you need at that transaction value to hit your monthly goals. So once you know that, let's look at your conversion rate. So how many people do you need to talk to get a lead? So if you talk to 10 people in general, how many people do you close out of those 10 leads? If you close 1 out of 10, that's 10%. If you close 2, that's 20%, and so forth and so on. So you want to divide your target by your conversion rate. So for instance, so the average conversion rate is anywhere between 20, 40%. So anywhere between 20 and 40% is the average. If you're an excellent salesperson, you may be higher than that. If you're not that great at sales, you may be lower than that. But let's use for this example, 30%. So out of every 10 people that you talk to, you're close 3 of them, 30%. So that means at the 5, you need to have 5 clients per month to hit your monthly goal, to hit your annual goal. That means you need to talk to 17 people at that 30% closing rate. You need to talk to 17 people a month to close 5 to hit your 208,000 to hit your 2.5 million, if that makes sense. So if you need to head back over there, just hit on pause and rewind so you can head back through the numbers and you can fill out that portion of the workbook. Okay. So this is it here. So this is what we have in the workbook using the example. So we want the annual 2.5 million, monthly target 208,000. Our typical average ticket price or our average sale on the average remodel, 40,000. Like I said, yours may be higher, but that means you need to close at least 5. And then I actually have 20% here. On the other example, I had 30, but if you had 20 here, that means you would need to talk to 26 leads and able to hit that. That's if you had a 20% conversion rate as opposed to a 30% conversion rate. Now, like I said, the average is anywhere between 20 and 40. But on the example I had on the other page, I had it in the middle. This is if you're on the lower end of sales. So if you get 2 out of every 10 people that you talk to. So you would need to talk to 26 people to get to 5, if that makes sense. Okay. So the average cost per lead, if you divide that, so with the as saying that at that rate, the average lead will cost you roughly about $50. And so you would budget roughly about $1,300 to get that 26 leads. And this is all around Google Ads. So if you was to do the Google Ads, if you spend roughly $1,300, you'll get roughly the 26 leads at generating lead costs around $50. That's just an average from Google AdWords. Later in where we have the top keywords, we'll show you where we get a lot of these numbers at. All right. So what are your goals for 2022? Looking back at the book, how many leads do you need monthly to get to your target? Think about that. Like I said, you may want to pause here so you can fill that out, but that's what you want to think about. What is your goal? Where do you want to reach? All right. So now that you know the goal, now we're going to start to talk about setting the plan of action. Okay. So we're going to start with the 3 fundamentals of marketing success. So those are market, message, and media. So the who, what, and how. Okay. So the market as your who is your ideal client? So before you do anything else, you want to do the research and determine who is your ideal client. Because if you speak to the wrong person, you're going to speak to no one. As we say in marketing, if you try to market to everybody, you're actually marketing to no one. So you need to know who your ideal client is, so you can fit in their shoes and you can start to develop the messaging, which we're going to get into the what. You'll find out where they are, and then you'll be able to target them the right way to where they are. And then that's going to be the how. Okay. And that's where we're going to spend most of the time in this session on. So your ideal client avatar, this is a worksheet that's in your workbook. You can make copies of this, and you should make copies of this because you may have different avatars. Ideally, you want to have a few that you can really pinpoint and identify, but you may have different services that are different clientele that you may target. So you may have different client avatars, but for this exercise, we're just going to focus on just the one main one, that who your ideal client avatar is. And you want to know demographics, general interests, what do they look like? Man, woman, age. And then you want to know what their general interest is. What do they like to do? What are their pains and frustrations? What are they having issues with? Okay. What are their fears? And what kind of implications does that mean? So what are their fears? What are their goals and desires? We're figuring out yours, but what are the goals and desires of your ideal client? And then what are their dreams and aspirations? Okay. So there's some examples here that we have: homeowner, we have 35 years of age. On the demographic side, annual income, we have that there. Pains and frustrations, their space is not working like they want it to, can't decide on the style, needs to get the space more functional, too busy. Okay. That's happening a lot right now. So they're worried if left undone, the space at their house may be unhealthy for the family. Okay. What are their pains and frustrations? What are their goals and desires? They want to get their space remodeled at the most basic level. But what else do they desire? Okay, having a well-kept home, taking care of the family, more income, money, wealth, live in a nice, luxurious home, family, travel more. Okay, what are their fears? finding the wrong designer. That I've heard from a lot of homeowners. Paying too much for something that they don't like. Okay. Having a home damaged by faulty workmanship. Having to wait weeks, months for a complicated remodel. Now, that one is a little awkward right now because we all know lead times are ridiculous. So we all know that that is something that we don't have complete control over, but we know that prior to the pandemic, that was a fear, but it's more so a reality now. But being inconvenienced by, with coordinating with the contractor may cause a disaster in the home. Are you being safe? Are you taking care of their home? Are you being sanitary? Are you using clean materials? Those are type things that you need to answer, and you need to make sure your crew is doing as well. Okay. So you do all this to determine who your ideal client is, because if you could see through Jane Smith's eyes, then you can see and you can sell what Jane Smith wants to buy. Okay. So by understanding your client avatar and understanding who your ideal client is, now you can be in their shoes and relate to them better and write for them and develop content that resonates with them. So that's next, the message. This is the what. Okay. So once you know who your client avatar is, now you can write for them. Now you can determine how you need to structure the content to engage them. So some of the things you want to have in your message. Why should someone choose to do business with you over the competition? What are the benefits that you offer to your target client that will resonate with them? So this is all helping you to differentiate yourself from everybody else in the field. So some type of messages that you may say, award-winning designer that brings quality work to every project that is on time and within budget. Experienced, trustworthy professionals that cater to a variety of styles and budgets. From concept to installation, we help you achieve your dream home. So those are just some typical messages, but you want to really dial in who your client avatar is and understand their mindset, their interests, and write clear messages that will relate to them and have them really look at you as the value service provider, as the solutions provider to the issue that they have. Okay. You could make the case once you really know who they are. You could talk about your experience in the industry, how you provide quality workmanship, leave their home in a cleaner than how you found it, or that's really now talking about the coronavirus, making sure it's sanitary, that you paying close attention to all of the health requirements now in your state, because each state is a little different. Some with the vaccinations, not going to get into all that, but you want to make sure that you communicate that to the homeowner, because some may be really wary of that, and you want to make sure you alleviate those issues before they become a problem. Financing available. Some designers and remodelers offer financing, or they work with a bank to offer that to their clients. Great service. Do you have any guarantees? If you do, you might want to mention that. Okay. So now that we've went over the market, that's your ideal client. We talked about the messaging that you want to communicate to them. Now you want to talk about the how, the media. How will you reach your ideal client? Okay. So where you want to start is at the website. You want to start at the website. Make sure your hub converts. That's your hub. The hub is your website. There are two things you're gonna. If you listen to any of my podcasts or any of the podcasts we have on designer discussions, or if you've seen any of my information that I've had on social media, two of the things I talk about that you must have is a website and an email list. And we're going to talk about email a little later on, but website. So we actually have a client that came to us because they only had a Facebook profile. Everything was on Facebook. one of their employees ran their ads the wrong way and got their Facebook profile shut down for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Exactly. How much will that hurt you if you were shut down for 6 weeks? That's a long time. Needless to say, they came to us and they needed to have their website built. And we all know what happened last year when Facebook and all of their properties, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, went down for hours, or it was almost 24 hours. So, and I heard from a lot of clients that it's a good thing that we have a website in our email list because we were not able to communicate with our clientele any other way. So having a website is vital, but just having it is not enough. You got to make sure it's optimized to convert. So we're going to talk about some of the elements you need. So you want to make sure that you have your primary contact information at the top. So you want to have your logo, your company name, you want to have contact details. So what I find with a lot of design websites, especially interior design websites, is they love to have the pretty images dominate, which is great. But you want to make sure that you have your contact information somewhere in the above the fold area. Above the fold, that's the area right when you come onto the website without a person having to scroll. So as soon as they hit your website, you want to have that contact information right there at the top. You want to have a clickable phone number, not just have the phone number, a clickable phone number, because over 90%, about 80 something, high 80% right now, 80% of search starts on a mobile device. So you want to make sure that all of this information, that especially your number, is clickable. So if they see something they like, they could click and call you right then and there. If not, if they have to scroll down and find how to contact you, you're making it more difficult for your prospect to get in contact with you. You do not want to do that. The harder you make it, the less user-friendly your website is, the more likely they're going to jump off and bounce and go to your competition. So you want to make sure that you have your phone number at the top of the website and that the phone number is clickable. Okay. Have your address and have the main navigation, all of the tabs, how they get there. You want to have a description somewhere of who you are, like what is, and this could be brief and to the point, but what actually differentiates you from the other remodelers and designers out there. So you want to have that there in the front, and you want to have a clear call to action. So someplace where you can get their information. So if they like what they see, if you have a free consultation or you have a deal that's happening, you want their information. You want their information as soon as they get to your website. So you want them to be able to put in their name, email, number, or whatever you have, or whatever they have that you want to collect from them. You want to be able to collect that immediately and not, like I said, not have them have to scroll or find it. You want them to be able to click on it, put their information in, and get to it. Social media links, you want to have that on the page. So you want to have that clickable to, if you have a Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you want to have all those icons immediately available so they can click and get to those profiles. But you also want, on the opposite end, you want your profiles linking back to your website, because you really want to keep people on your website, because that's where you will have the majority of information. And mobile optimize you want to make sure that your website is optimized for mobile. Because like I said, over 80% of search starts on a mobile device. So you want to make doubly sure that your website reads well and is optimized for mobile. Honestly, you probably want to position your website where it reads well more so on a mobile than a desktop, because that is where most people are going to find you, is on a mobile device. Okay. So this is an example from one of our own clients. So this is the Me Team. They're in Chicago. They are a real estate firm that opened up interior design division because one of the owners is a licensed interior designer, and she's also a broker. So she has a real estate firm that she does residential and commercial and also interior design. So this is the website we built for her. And you can see a lot of the same elements we talked about. We have the contact information here at the front, a clickable phone number, have some information on who they are, have the navigation, clear call to action, has some social media. And right here, if you was to go to their website, this image actually moves and it actually rotates. And on there, there's text that tells just a little bit about their differentiating factor. Okay. What are some of the elements that you need to set up to make sure it converts? You want to make sure that your website speaks to your target audience, to your target client. That's your avatar. Does it address their fears, frustrations, and speak to why they should choose you over the competition? Do you have authentic images? Are the images yours from your work? And you want to have yourself and your team, because people like to work with other people. So yes, they want to see the great images of your work, but they also want to see who will I be working with. Okay. So you want to have images of that. Video, if at all possible, include some type of welcome video so they get to learn a little bit about you and your company. They get to learn about your services, so you can have that in the video and why you over the competition. So what is your differentiating factor that makes you the go-to person in your area? Okay. Do you have online reviews? Do you have review? Make sure you have reviews someplace on your website, preferably on the homepage, and you may have a testimonials page, but you want to have some testimonials. You want to have a few of them on the homepage because they may not have a chance to get to a testimonials page or to a reviews page. So you want to sprinkle that in. You want to have on there a clear call to action. Have it easy for them to take action. Like I said, some type of form field or something like that you want them to be able to do. Basic information, number, credible authority symbols. That's like the BBB or NKBA or any of the reputable. If you're a member of the chamber, of your local chamber, have that on there. If you're a member of the ASID, AIA, NKBA, like I mentioned, you want to have those symbols on there. That gives you a little more credibility. And then, like I said, those call actions, you want to make sure to have those on there. Okay. So this is just a little bit about website. I did a CEU session, an NKBA CEU session on website that goes in depth on what you need on your website and all that. And you can go to the website here, our website /website -workbook, or you can scan in that code, be taken to that CEU on websites where that's an hour-long CEU just on how to optimize your website. Okay. So based on what I've talked about so far, open up your own website and analyze to see, based on the basics that I have in here, is it built to convert? Be honest with yourself. Nobody is looking at this but you right now. Be honest with yourself. Are these elements on your website? And if so, what do you need to tweak? And write down here, what are some conversions, or what are the 3 elements that you've seen that you may not have that you want to add in, that you want to implement when you leave here. So like I said, you may want to pause the video right here so you can write those down. Go back to that Harvard study. You want to write this stuff down. You just don't want to have, this is my goal, this is what I plan to do, because there's going to be a lot of sessions that you may listen to. There's going to be a lot of information. So you want to be able to write this down so you could go back to it and say, okay, this is what I got to work on. All right. Knowing and tracking KPI. Do you have tracking in place? A lot of designers and clients that we've worked with, once we brought them on and we asked about tracking, a lot of them said no, that they don't have any tracking in place. You want to make sure at a minimum you have call tracking in place so you can track where the calls are coming from and the duration of the calls. You want to also have Google Analytics. You want to have Google Search Console, because that tells you a little bit about where the traffic to your website is coming from, and have a simple dashboard. This is one we have here for our own clients that gives an overview of what's happening. Are you hitting your goals? But mainly, are you tracking the marketing that you're doing? Because if you are not tracking, what gets measured gets done. But if you aren't tracking it, it's hard for you to tell, are you spending your money the right way? Or are you throwing your money down the toilet? So by tracking it, you know where you're making mistakes and where to optimize, what's going well and where to put more money as well. So tracking is vital. And I can't tell you enough how many people or how many clients that we've dealt with before they came to us were not tracking. Make sure you're tracking your information, whether you work with a marketing agency or you do marketing on your own. Make sure you're tracking the success or failures of your campaigns. Okay. The key trends for 2022, like I said, we have a document that you'll get access to at the end of this, where it has the top 10 trends for 2022, but I'm only talking about 3 right now. Okay. So the 3 I'm going to get into are going to be email marketing, video marketing, and the omnipresent approach. All right. Email marketing. So in an analysis that was done by HubSpot, it revealed 2 out of 3 clients made purchases as a result of a direct marketing email they received from the company. Their research also shows that email marketing is 40 times more effective than Twitter and Facebook combined. Now that should tell you something. So I cannot stress enough how important email marketing is. We had a client that did email marketing, and she really didn't believe in it too much, because she used it for about a year and she had built up a good list. But then after a while, they started to drop off and nobody was opening her email. She had a bad open rate and she just didn't believe. And so I said, okay, well, let us take over this campaign and see what we can do with it. Okay. So what we found is that she was not living by the 80-20 rule, which I'm going to talk a bit about the 80-20 rule. She was not doing that. It was mainly about self-promotion and not a lot about value. And so when we changed that around, she started to get more email subscribers over time. And then the open rate went up. And at the 6-month mark of us taking it over, she had her first sale. Okay. It was not, and honestly, it was not one of the people on the email list, but it was a person that opened the email and they saw something in there that one of their neighbors talked about. And it reminded them, okay, what my neighbor just talked about, let me connect you to. She made a sale. And then 6 straight months after that, took around 6 months, and she had her first sale. And then 6 months, every month for 6 months after that, she had a sale. And like I said, it was not always from her list, but it was about being top of mind. And what email does, it helps you be top of mind, because a lot of times you may have a lot of past clients that may need a refresher, and you may have a new offer that at the time you may not have done decks. You may not have done outside decks, and they may have used you 10 years ago, and they may not be considering you now because you didn't do decks, but they don't know that you now have that offering. But by sending that email, showing them, keeping them up to date on your services and what you do and offering value, now you're top of mind. So when they're ready, they're like, okay, I've used you before and now you do decks, I'll be happy to use you again. Okay. So ask yourself these questions. What are you trying to achieve by sending the emails? Who is your audience? You should know, based on the exercise we just did, who your target audience is. What do you want the readers of the emails to do after reading the emails? Have some type of call to action, whatever that is, based on your target audience and what they're looking for. And which metrics will you use for tracking the success of your marketing campaign? Now, a lot of email providers, a lot of email service providers on their paid version, not their free versions, but on their paid versions, have some type of tracking to help you out. So you want to make sure to invest a little bit on the email marketing platform. You may already have one, but you want to make sure there's tracking in place so you can know when are they opening your emails? What time of day are they opening your emails? What day are they opening your emails? How long are they spending? What are they clicking on? So this all informs you. So as you make future monthly emails or newsletters or whatever it may be, you know what your target audience is actually resonating with. So you know if they like to open up emails Tuesday at 4 p.m., now you know I need to be sending out my emails around that time. Or if they're really resonating with this countertop that I have, or they're resonating with this style and they're opening up this link over and over again, I need to make sure that I put more emphasis on that so I could get my open rates up, get more shares, get more people liking, and then eventually get some sales from that as well. Okay. Now, I had talked a little bit about the 80-20 rule, and you want to make sure to have 80% value, 20% self-promotion. Like I said, with the client we had, it was more like 70-30, 70% self-promotion, 30% value. And she's an award-winning designer, which a lot of you here are. But remember, the end user or the prospect, they don't care. It helps that you are, but a lot of them, they want to know what's in it for them. Okay. And when you provide that 80% value, you're showing them the value that they want to read. And then with the 20%, now you can showcase what you do. Okay. But you got to get that 80% out there to really provide that value, to have them open it, to see and read about what they're interested in. And you know all this because you did the exercise on the client avatar. And so you know what they're looking for, you know what their interests are. And so you're writing to that effect. And some of the things you can actually write about: home remodel tips. I can tell you first and foremost, that's one of the things. If you look at YouTube, how to fill in the blank is one of the most searched terms on YouTube. How to fill in the blank. So you could do how to remodel tips on how to make my space larger, how to add in more light, do things like that. Links to articles, link to articles in your blog that offer value on those tips, videos that you did or will do that talks to that, reference projects that apply to the value part. And then for that 20%, you can include work that you've done that tell a story and educate and entice them to learn more. And you want to try to tie that 20% self-promotion into that 80% value that you talked about at the start. If you had talked about how to make your space larger, okay? So if that was one of the things you had talked about, like how to make the space larger or how to add in light, how to bring light into a space, if that was a value piece, now you could show a project where you did that, where you made the space larger, where you brought in light to that space, the before and afters. And now it relates to that 80% value, and it promotes you as an expert because you're not only providing value on how to make your own space larger or add in that light or add in color or whatever it is, but you showed an example of how you did that with a client. And now, top of mind, they're going to start thinking, when I need that, I know who to call. So that's what you want to do with your emails. All right. And for detailed training, again, we have a CEU that we did on this. It's an hour-long CEU session where we get into basic requirements that you need for your email, how to develop your email list, how to get them on your email list, what to send them, how often to send your emails, when to send it, how to achieve good open rates, and the mistakes you want to avoid. Okay, so you can either click on this link. It's in the workbook. So you have that link there, or you can scan that QR code. It'll take you to that CEU on email marketing. And again, that's an hour-long CEU that's been approved by the NKBA. I didn't have enough time to go over all this because this is only an hour and a half long session, but it's a little shorter here, like I said, because I won't have the engagement since it's just me explaining it, but you can stop this when you need to. But check that out on the website. Check that out here on email because it's a lot of information there that I go over, and it explains more in depth on how to really utilize it. Okay. Next one, video marketing. Video marketing is huge. I can't tell you enough on how much things have changed in the last year, just in video. If you're on Instagram, you know. Your static image posts are not working anymore. They don't have the same reach that they used to have. And that's because TikTok is kicking Instagram's butt. And they changed their algorithm to emphasize more video. So if you want to have the same reach that you had in the past on Instagram, you have to do video. And some of the tips that you may want to do is start with the basics and indulge your audience on the methods, and make videos that takes and walks your prospect through your design process. So again, remember we had talked earlier about once you define your audience, now you know how to write to them. And so now in the video, you can talk about that, but you can also explain your own design process and bring that into the forefront, because you want to differentiate yourself from the other designers out there. And your design process hopefully is unique to you and how you operate your business. You can easily talk about that and break that up into different videos. Okay. Develop videos of your completed projects, before and afters. You could talk about your design services, what you offer to your clients. You could talk about that. Create a video portfolio, not just static images. You already have that on your website, but you may want to have on that same portfolio page or in social media, have video that showcase your portfolio, some of the projects that you worked on and so forth. Video of satisfied clients. If you could get video testimonials, that's amazing. I'm telling you, video testimonials work wonders, because it helps to put you in a better light, as opposed to you saying how great you are. People are more likely to believe your clients than they are to believe you. So if you could get other people to talk about how great you are, now they're more likely to listen to what you have to say. Host online events, webinars, live chat, interactive discussions. That helps to show and promote you as an expert. And like I said, you could talk about the how-to, like I said, opening up a space, make a space larger, adding in light, color, whatever that is. But you host those type of events that are interactive, and they're asking you questions that shows you as an expert, and you could splice up those clips and put those on your website, put those on social media, promote those in other areas. So that's a way. But overall, you want to keep in mind that video is far more in-depth, engaging than images and static post. So you want to make sure to get video in there and have that in what you do. And video is the fastest growing medium that we have out today. Okay. So now some mistakes that we see that you do not want to do: not having a defined story. Just like we're doing here, we're setting a plan of action. You want to have a plan of action for the video, so you're not just rambling. You want to know what you're going to talk about. Get to the point, like I did at the start, where I outlined what we're going to talk about. And now we're talking about it. And at the end, I'm going to sum up what we talked about. So you want to do that in the video. You want to tell them what you're going to talk about. Then you want to tell them. And at the end, you want to tell them what you told them that you were going to talk about. So you want to have that. So you want to have a defined story and have it engaging. Make sure that it targets the right audience. And what we see is that people are targeting the wrong audience because they haven't defined who their target audience is. Once you know your target audience, now you could target your audience the right way. Like I said, if you do not have a defined story, you could create long and boring videos that have no point. Okay. How many times have you seen a video that you're like, when are they getting to the point? There was a video I saw where it was a guy making a cake, and he had filling and sprinkles, and he was going to sprinkle, and he put a hole in the middle of the cake, and he put everything in a funnel, and he was going to release the funnel so it can ooze out all over the cake. It took him 5 minutes to get to the point. And he was like, I just want to see I want you to like and share. I want you to do all this. And I looked at the analytics at that, and a lot of people were dropping off because he was not getting to the point, or he was trying to get more engagement in the video, but people were getting mad because he wasn't getting to the point. So you want to make sure that you have a defined story, get to the point. You want to have a call to action. Like I said, just on your website, the same thing, call to action. What is the purpose of the video? That's the point of having a defined story. And then you want to have that call to action. What do you want people to do once they've seen the video? Do you want them to join your newsletter or your email list? Do you want them to get a free consultation? Do you want them to contact you for an appointment? What is it that you want them to do? Tell them. Do not overdo with a sales pitch, okay? If you work on the 80-20 rule, 80% value, 20% self-promotion, you'll be fine. Because if you're providing value, then the end user does not mind if you have a sales pitch at the end, because you provided them a lot of value. Like I'm going to do here, like at the end, I'm going to show how you can work with us if you would like to. It's not necessary, but if you want to work with us, you can. And I'm going to provide you, and it's a lot of value here that you're going to get by listening to this, and you're going to have a plan by the time you leave here. Now, if you want to have us help you implement the plan, we can. But the 80% that you're going to see is all about value, and that's what you want to do on your video. Okay? Adding too many messages in one video. You want to create different videos for different messages. So like what I had talked about before, so you may talk about what's your design process. So you may have a video that has an overview, but you may get into specifics. So you may have a design consultation. Then you may have you may have the intake, design consultation, or in whatever order. Then you may have the follow-up where you go to the showroom. Then you may have the review of the design. Then you may have where you pick out materials, and then it's just high level going over. Then you may have where you have the demo of the space. Then you have the creating the space and yada, yada, all the way to the end. So you may do an overview, but each of the individual steps I talked about, you may want to have a video just on that breaks down every part of your process, because that helps to keep everybody engaged, knowing and understanding, and is clear cut what the video is about. Okay. And that gets people to watch the other videos. Because if you did a quick overview, a quick 1 to 2 minute overview, this is our process, and then we're going to get into depth in each of these other videos. Now they're looking at all the other videos because you set a clear path, what they need to do, and all the videos they need to look at. All right. So the next one we're going to talk about is the omnipresent approach. So this is also known as omni-channel marketing. And what this is that you want to meet the clients where they are or be everywhere that they tend to be, and create a positive, consistent experience on each of the channels by offering elements like a consistent brand, tone, graphics, vision, a personalized message based on your client's interests. And you know what that is, because remember, you already created the avatar. You already know what their interests are. You did that exercise, or if not, you need to do that exercise so you can define who that avatar is. So now you can write a clear and concise message to them. But being omnipresent is, now that you know who your ideal client is, now you can determine and you can figure out where they are. Like, what are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on TikTok? Where are they? Are they reading email? Will it be easier to text them? Would it be easier to message them? How is the best way to get through to them? So this is what we call the digital dominance method. And this is what we do for our own clients. And this is just something that you want to look at. Okay. SEO. Are you doing SEO on your website? You should be. And there's an SEO CEU you'll see in the workbook that you'll be able to see and get access to. PPC. Are you doing anything like that? Pay-per-click marketing, advertising, online, that's AdWords, Bing search, things like that. Retargeting. Are you retargeting through either Google, Facebook? Are you doing paid online directories like Yelp, Angie's List? Not all of these things may or may not apply, but I'm just showing you the omnipresent, omni-channel approach. Repeat and referral, email marketing, social media. At a certain level, you should be doing some type of email, like I said, and social media as well. Pay per lead, that is the home advisor. Google local service ads, social media advertising. Are you doing Facebook ads? Are you doing YouTube ads? And then referral programs. Are you doing a newsletter? Are you doing reward programs? Are you having a referral fee, gift cards, anything like that? So this is just an omnipresent approach. make sure to incorporate some aspects of this once you know who your audience is into all that you do. So now we're going to talk about building your 2022 plan. Now that we went over a lot of the information, now we're going to implement and start to write down some of these aspects, okay? And a lot of this is already in your workbook. So I have a checklist here. You want to start to check off all the things that you have and either highlight or circle all of that you may need to incorporate. And then there's some notes in there that you could take so you know what you need to do in terms of an omni-channel, omnipresent approach. Some of the actions that you hopefully you are doing a lot of these things, but if not, there's just a checklist to make sure that whatever you're not doing that you can start to implement. So now what we have here, you want to go to this website or you can scan in the QR code, because I'm going to go there right now. This is the marketing plan worksheet. So what you want to do, because you will not be able to edit it, you want to go in and make a copy right here. You want to make a copy of this sheet and you want to rename that. Now you can edit this document. Okay. So this is what we did earlier, and you could change all of these numbers here. So you could look in, you can make that, let's say 6.5 million. So that automatically updates the monthly total. And then if you could see, it automatically changed here how many clients you need based on this, and based on your on the closing rate, how many people, how many leads you need to talk to. So you could change this number here and it'll automatically update. That came from. So this right here is the average cost per lead source. And this is just for design, remodeling, e-design. And this is all based on either PPC, pay-per-click, Google local service ads, what the average is there, social media, roughly how much you'll pay, a repeat referral, and then just the blended averages. Okay. So this information that we get directly from Google, a lot of this, like I said, we run ads for our own clients. So we got a lot of this information from our own clients and running ads for them as well. So that's where this number here came from, for the average cost per lead. So that helps to show how much you need to spend in terms of to hit the target of that number of leads. All right. You actually have this in your workbook, but now you can hold on to it and you could play with it in your office or after this is over as well. Budget allocation. This shows typically marketing budget, how much you should spend. I have 15%. 15% is aggressive. That's if you're looking to scale. Typically, you want to spend in between 5 and 8% of revenues. That's a quick rule of thumb. Typical marketing in this industry, they spend in between 5 and 8% of their gross revenues. That's how much they allocate to marketing. If you're less aggressive and you're not really, it could go as low as 3, but usually it's in between 5 and 8. Okay. If you're really looking to scale this year, if you want to go to that next level, if you've been doing a steady growth each year, but this is the year you really want to scale, you want to be upwards of 10%, anywhere between 10 and 15% gross revenues. That's what you want to spend on marketing. Okay. So for this exercise, I just had 15% in there just for this exercise. Okay. So what that looks like, if your projected revenue is $1 million, it's just for easy math, $1 million. So you want to allocate of that 15%, 70% to online marketing, 20% to offline marketing, and 10% to repeat business. So what that looks like from the million, that's 105 on online marketing. This is over the year. This is annual. Okay. 30,000 for offline. So that's like flyers and business cards and, like that. And then 15% repeat business. Okay. So now let's break that down even more by month. If you was to take all of that away, if you split all that up evenly throughout the months, that'd be a roughly 8.33%, or 8,750 on online, 2,500 on offline, and 1,250 on repeat. That's that number that you're looking at. Okay. 150,000 annual, or for the month, 12,500. Okay. So now we break that down even more. So the online marketing allocation, how you want to divide that up? You want to spend about 25% of that on SEO, 50% of that on PPC, which can also be Google local service ads, which I'll talk about that in a minute. Display and retargeting 5%, and other social media posting and video 20%. So that shows you how that all breaks down. And then we break all that down into each of these. So you could change all of these numbers. And if you change a number here, it automatically changes on the chart and you could rearrange this. But this is just to help you remember the whole point of this exercise is you're now developing a plan. So you have a plan of action that once you leave this session, you know what you're going to do. And so this is what this is all about. This is just a guide. You can alter this as need be, but this is the start of where you need to go. Next, marketing calendar. This right here. So one of the handouts that we're going to also have at the end, and I'm going to hand you, is social. So one of the questions I get asked a lot of times is what to post about. I have no idea what to post about. So what we have here is for social and for email. This can also be used for email as well. Is for each of the months, we have general topics for the month, and then we break that down into topic ideas. So there are in between 5 to 10 topic ideas each month that you'll have in the booklet, and there's a drop-down menu here that you could click on. It'll show you some topic ideas. So for instance, when we have the KBIS show, that could be a topic that you can either talk about in February or March, one or two, that after the fact. But you could talk about the highlights from that show. You could talk about the top kitchen design or the top kitchen appliances. That may be a topic for a post. That could be a topic for an email newsletter. So these are all topics that you can write about or post about. So now using this information, now you have a guide for you to start to post and write blogs about, or write social media posts or email newsletters. So no more excuses about not knowing what to post about. You have a guide. Take this and run with it. So with the PPC and SEO, there's a document that you're going to also have access to. And in the workbook, you'll see that there's a QR code for you to scan in and get access to that document. So it shows you the top 60 keywords in interior design and the top 60 keywords in home remodeling. So you have the search volume for the keywords. You have the cost, high and low, that you will pay to bid for that item if you did PPC. And you have how competitive it is. If it's highly competitive term, middle, or low. So that helps you know how competitive that term is, and if you want to spend that time and money, or if you want to go for the lower hanging fruit. And this just here reiterates the digital dominance method and how you want to attack and how you want to go after your clientele and meet them where they are. This right here breaks down email. Like I said, if you did a monthly email newsletter, these are typically what you can have as email specials for your call to action within that email newsletter. So you can have a 10% off, and then you could tie this into the monthly topics, or you could just use these however you see fit, or mix match or whatever. But this is just a guide. This is framework for you to use. So when you leave here, you have a plan of action. So there's nothing that you have to guess about. You now have a plan that you can go do. And this is just special offerings that you may have as a target that you can have either in blogs or your website or anywhere else you may want to use. Okay. So this is all information that will help you right now set your plan along with the target audience that we've already developed. Now you can look at where you want to be at the end of the year, break that down by month, and set your goals. Now you have ideas on what to post about. All right, so now we went over that. Like I said, you can scan that in and go right to the information. So now you want to build your custom plan. So we're not going to be able to do all of this on this session, but you now have the elements to implement that and start to write down your plan of action. So you want to take some time. You want to spend at least an hour after this is over, whether it's on the plane ride home or whether it's tonight or whether whenever you're watching this, but you want to start to implement and write down some of the targets and the goals and the strategies that we had talked about. So what are the 3 internet marketing initiatives that you're going to implement to hit your goal in 2022? Now, we had talked about a lot. We talked about email marketing. We talked about website. We had talked about video. But you want to pick the top 3 that you know that you can do, okay? So what are the things that you know you can do? You want to write those down, okay? So what have we covered? So we set plans. We set goals for 2022 and how many leads you need to hit that target. We talked about the 3 fundamentals of marketing success. We talked about how to optimize your website for conversions in 2022. And like I said, there's a whole CEU session just on that. We talked about the big picture, and that's about tracking. You want to make sure that you track all of the elements of your marketing campaign, whether you're hiring somebody and you want to make sure that they have tracking as an aspect of their marketing services, or if you do it in-house, you want to make sure you have ways to track your marketing success or failures so you know how to optimize. The latest trends, I'm going to share access to the top 10, but we went over 3 email marketing, video, and omni-channel approach. And we just went over how to develop your custom action plan. We went over the worksheet that has all the numbers and all that, and where you can start to write this down and you can really build that plan step by step. This is all of the information that you will get access to. So you're going to get access to the 2022 marketing workbook, which you already have. You're going to get access to the worksheet, which we already went there. And remember, you got to save as to actually edit that. The social media calendar, Google local service ads. So LSA, that is Google's way of entering the lead generation space. And so that's where a pay per lead model. And I have a whole training. We have a whole training on that. It's a booklet that walks you step by step on how to set that up. So if you want, we got access to that. Google My Business, or what they call Google Business Profile now, at a minimum, that's free. This is free. Out of everything I said, this is free. Google My Business. You need to look at this booklet and set it up if you do not already have it, because this will help. This helps with SEO as well. Digital marketing trends, like I said, we had talked about the top 10. And so we had went over 3, and that, so you'll get access to all the 10 and then the keywords. Okay. So to get access to that, type in this URL here or scan this QR code, and you'll be taken to all the downloads here to get all that information. Okay. So just scan this in here. You could pause this right here and scan this and get access to all this information. All right. If all this is overwhelming, and once you set up your plan of action, if you see that you may need some help, let's talk. Schedule a call with us. We can have a 15-minute talk to see if it's a good fit, because you may not need us. I may talk to you, or one of my staff may talk to you and see like, well, look, honestly, all you need to do is XYZ, and we'll be honest with you. If it's not a good fit, because we don't work with everybody. And we have exclusivity. Usually when we work with a firm, it's a 10 to 15 mile radius where we won't work with anybody else. Reach out to us and see if it's a good fit and if we might be able to help you, or just to have a conversation, because I love to network. I love to talk and see what else is out there, and I can learn a lot from you and vice versa. All right. So what are the takeaways from here? What did you learn? What did you notice? What would you like to share? And any questions? If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us. Let me head back to this other slide here. Feel free to head to our website, fill out the form that you'll see on the first page. Fill out that form, and we'll be happy to have a conversation with you. to see what did you get out of this session, because my main point is to make sure that you got something out of this session, but at the same time that you're creating a plan of action to make 2022 your year. We want to make sure that everybody listening to this session right now has a plan of action for 2022 that they can implement and move forward with. Remember, writing it down is vital. Went over the Harvard study. Is just not about having a goal. It's about having a plan of action and writing this stuff down. Write it down. You have the booklet. You have all the documents that we shared on the screen before. And so you should be able to create that plan of action and reach out to us. And we would love to talk to you. I would love to talk to you. And if you're at the event, visit us at booth S3775. That's the booth. Will be at S as in Sam 3775. That's our booth. Come over there, meet some members of our team. We'll love to talk to you and meet you in person. But if you aren't live, if you're only watching on the recording, I want to hear about the success that you've had from this information, and have a great 2022, and hope to see and hear from you in the future.